Hello and welcome to Mississippi Coliseum here in Jackson, Mississippi, where tonight the Jim Hill Tigers will take on the Gulfport Admirals. Tigers are 23-10 overall. Gulfport is 29-4 this season. I'm Graham Doty, joined alongside my partner tonight, David Sanders, a former Danny Dozen himself, All-State selection and former Ole Miss Rebel as well, bringing you tonight's action. Starting lineups tonight, first for Gulfport, Jeremy Holloman, a senior averaging 17 points a game that leads this Gulfport team. Jashir Harnett, a freshman averaging 11 points and 3 rebounds. Otis Harvey, a junior, 7 points and 5 rebounds a game. Jamal Jones, a junior, averaging 7 points and 3 rebounds a game. And to finish the starting five for Gulfport is a junior, Eddie Lee, 11 points and 3 rebounds a game this year for Eddie Lee. Now the starting lineup for Jim Hill. They are led by a Danny Dozen selection of their own, All-State selection, Fred Thomas, averaging 20 points a game to lead them. Behind Thomas is Terry Morris, a junior, averaging 4 points and 3 rebounds a game. Behind him is a senior, Benquel Seals, averaging 9 points and 4 rebounds a game. Trishawn White is a junior, averaging 8 points and 4 rebounds a game. And a finish, the starting five for Jim Hill is a junior, Isaiah Williams, averaging 2 points and 5 rebounds a game this year for Jim Hill. So getting ready for tip-off between Gulfport and Jim Hill. The winner of this game will play Tupelo, who punched their ticket earlier today. That game will be March the 3rd at 8:30. So getting ready for tip-off between Jim Hill and Gulfport. We'll take a quick break. You're watching the MHSAA Network.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful.
For more information on how your school can join the Play on School broadcast program and participate in the MHSAA network, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Welcome back. Getting ready for a tip-off between Jim Hill and Gulfport for the 6A boys semifinal game. This is the final game today. A lot of games have been played the past few days here at Mississippi Coliseum. But David, just looking first at this Jim Hill team, no surprise who takes the most shots on their team. It's Fred Thomas, by far taking the most shots on this team. Danny Dozen selection, averaging 20 points a game.
Oh, yeah, definitely a great player, Mississippi State signee, and I've seen a lot of them this year. He's in my district, and Fred's really rounded himself out to be a great player. Last year was kind of rough around the edges. He's always been real athletic, but he really rounded his offensive game out this year. He became a better shooter, and he's going to be a good player for the Mississippi State Bulldogs.
And Jeremy Holloman is the leading scorer for Gulfport, averaging 17 points a game. Each of these coaches played high school ball where they're coaching right now. The head coach for Jim Hill is Stanford Speech, a young guy, just 25 years old. He played his college ball at Mississippi Valley State. He was a Dandy Dozen selection as well. And the head coach of Gulfport is Owen Miller. If that name sounds familiar, he was an assistant coach at Ole Miss and State. In his first year as the head coach of Gulfport, he won 2 state titles at Gulfport when he was a player back in the 80s. Gulfport does win the tip-off. Jones on the high right side. Just underway here in the 6A semifinal game. Lee in the post to Jones. Fadeaway shot, right elbow. Misses it too long. Tipped around, batting around. Saved back in play by Gulfport, but Jim Hill gets it. This is Thomas leading the charge. Passing it ahead, putting it up and in to Seals. 2-0 Jim Hill. Jim Hill wearing the green jerseys. Gulfport wearing the white.
I won't be fooled by Jim Hill's lead scorer, Fred Thomas. They have a lot of talent on that ball club.
Holloman, an air ball from the left wing. Snatched out of the air by Jim Hill, leading 2-0. Winner of this game plays for the state championship against Tupelo March the 3rd, 8:30. Thomas pulls the trigger. Deep three, misses it too long. Rebounded by Gulfport. There's a three, Gulfport left corner, missing it too short as Holloman. The ball's tipped around, offensive rebound, Jones. Jones will take it to the hoop, blocked from behind. Jim Hill comes up with it. Nice defense there by Jim Hill. Just underway here, first quarter. Gulfport playing man-to-man. Thomas, Danny does the selection, drives to the hoop, baseline, left side. Was bumped and fouled on his way to the basket.
Jim Hill does a good job of running the half-court sets. They're a real patient team, and because they're so athletic, they're able to extend plays and really make some good plays around the basket. They draw a lot of fouls as well.
Morris will inbound. He leads his team in assists. Looking. Floats one to Williams. Puts him in the hands of Seals. 2-0, Jim Hill. The ball's poked away by Gulfport. Batted around, and Gulfport gets away with a turnover there, trying to tie this thing at 2 or take the lead. There's an open jumper. Holloman misses it in the right corner. Rebounded by Jim Hill.
Gulfport's getting some really good looks early. They're going to have to capitalize on some of those.
Morris, who runs this Jim Hill offense, passes it off to White. Back to Morris. Ball's poked out of bounds on that left wing by Holloman. It stays with the Tigers. This Jim Hill team, they went 13-15 last year. It's kind of uncharacteristic by their standards. They got 8 seniors and 7 juniors. No underclassmen. There's a fadeaway shot. It's knocked down by Jim Hill. Nice shot by Seals.
Yeah, Seals is a really nice player. He's one of the catalysts for Jim Hill, and he'll be another guy to help handle the scoring load with Fred Thomas.
Jones left corner in the low post. There's a free throw line shot, missing it too short. Tipped around. Jim Hill gets the rebound. Shot was taken by Harvey, just a little bit too short. So high right side. This is White. The baseline jumper right side. Rims it and out. No, the ball's poked around right in the hands of Seals around midcourt. Morris set up the offense to Thomas. Top of the arc. Danny does in selection. He's going to play at Mississippi State next year. There's a three that's drained by Morris. 7-0, Jim Hill.
Jim Hill can really fill it up now. They're going to come out ready to play. They're going to come out passionate. They're a really good team.
There's another turnover against Gulfport right in the hands of Morris. Gulfport is yet to get on the board. Thomas, top of the key, stutter step, being guarded by Harvey. Passes it to White. White loses it, tipped around. Thomas comes up with it around midcourt. Thomas will launch a deep three, missing it from the high right side. Tipped around in the paint. Everybody diving on top of it. Jim Hill again comes up with it. Another opportunity here for the Tigers. Morris looks back at his head coach Stan's speech. Thomas, being guarded by Harvey, man-to-man by Gulfport. Williams, passing it off, baseline jumper, no good by Seals. Offensive rebound again, Jim Hill. Thomas, a three straight away, misses it too long. The ball is poked out of bounds off of Gulfport.
I can tell you this, if Gulfport continue to give Fred Thomas those types of looks, it's going to be a long night for him. He won't miss very many of those.
So early in this first quarter so far, I'd say it's been all Jim Hill so far, everything going their way. It's Morris one bounded, lobs it to Thomas, catches it in there, puts it in. Nice move by Fred Thomas. He's got 5. Timeout called by Gulfport. Slow start for Owen Miller's squad.
Yeah, right now they're really being overwhelmed by the Tigers' athleticism, and they really haven't been able to get anything good on the offensive end. Tigers going to really play a nice man-to-man defense. They're going to get out and deny the wings, and they're going to force you to beat them off the dribble. And Gulfport has not done a good job of that so far in this game.
Look at both of these teams. They both have a ton of upperclassmen. Just said Jim Hill's got 8 seniors, 7 juniors. Gulfport, on the other hand, 7 seniors and 5 juniors, and then 3 underclassmen. So they have the experience. Gulfport just trying to get on the board here with Jim Hill leading 9-0. Jashir Harnett brings it up the floor, passes to Harvey. Back to Jashir Harnett, takes it, shot is blocked on his way to the hoop, but they're saying he's fouled. Well, that's Jeremy Holloman. That was fouled on his route to the basket.
As you can see, there were 3 Tigers there to try to block the shot. They're going to use their athleticism. They're going to challenge every shot at the rim.
Foul goes against White, his first. Each team has 1 foul. So Jeremy Holloman at the free throw line, very good free throw shooter, 83%. It's the front of the rim and it falls down. Shooter's touch for Holloman there. Leads this Gulfport team in scoring 17 points a game.
Coach Speech has done a real good job with Jim Hill. He was forcing the action with the untimely death of Coach Fred Harris, and he's done a really good job with this team. They bought into what he's trying to do, and he was a great player himself. As a Danny Dozen player for the Tigers, and guys have really bought into the system.
Free throw no, put back is good by Harvey. 9-3, Jim Hill. Did you play against Stanford?
No, he was a little bit after me. He was a really good player. I think I was in college when he was at Jim Hill. He was a really good player for the Tigers.
Jim Hill trying to add on to their lead here, leading 9-3. Morris to Thomas. Passes it off to Atkinson. This pass is stolen away by Gulfport. Racing the other way, this is Holloman. Gains control of it. To Jones, to Harvey. Low post, this is Lee. Puts it up and banks it in. Eddie Lee, the junior, gets his first bucket. Gets it to a 4-point Jim Hill lead. Paul is deflected. Gulfport comes up with it. Harvey to Lee. Lee puts it up and in again. And he's fouled. Count the basket. Back-to-back buckets from Eddie Lee. And in the blink of an eye, Gulfport has cut this thing to 2.
I was just about to get to that about Jim Hill. Like, one of the things my team was successful in doing against them, one of the few things we were successful doing, is picking them up with full court pressure. They didn't handle the pressure really well, and they hadn't handled it really well here today with Gulfport scoring 7 straight.
Free throw cuts it to a 1-point Jim Hill lead, 9-8. 2:29 remaining in this first quarter. Gulfport again going with some pressure. Jim Hill puts it in the hands of its playmaker, Fred Thomas. Thomas to Seals. Seals loses it down on a knee. Try to put it to Shelby. Out of Shelby's reach. Goes out of bounds. A turnover against Jim Hill. So Gulfport got off to a slow start. Now they're trying to take their lead for the first time today.
Yeah, they're really showing that they can play some pressure defense here. They're trapping the Tigers every time they get a chance, and the Tigers have really done a poor job of handling it.
Holloman floats it to Harnett, back to Holloman. Tipped around, he comes up with it. Passes it to Harvey, puts it up and in. The assist from Holloman. Kind of an off-balance shot, but it falls from Harvey.
Yeah, I don't even think you can see the basket there, but sometimes you get good plays like that to go for you when you're playing good ball.
So Gulfport takes their first lead tonight, 10-9. Thomas weaves his way up the floor, spins, jumper, airballs, a lot of contact. He doesn't get the call. Then there's a whistle, and Gulfport got the rebound. They just stepped out of bounds on the baseline. That was Holloman. So Jim Hill catches the break.
Thomas, one of the things I will say about Fred Thomas, he's not a great individual one-on-one player. He's really good coming off screens, knocking down shots. He's a great shooter.
So Morris puts it in the hands of Wallace, puts it up, tipped around, and it falls. Rather, that Seals. It goes down. Jim Hill regains the lead, 11-10. Ball's deflected by Thomas. He gets it back, and he takes it all the way himself. Nice play there by Fred Thomas.
Yeah, he's really long. He got long arms, really good instincts, and he'll get out in transition and finish.
Talk about Thomas. Thomas has taken 519 attempts coming into this game. You want to guess what the next closest is? 205.
Wow. Yeah, he's taking a lot of shots for his team. And you'll see that around the state. Even T.R. Griffin in the last game, the girls' game, I'm pretty sure she took over half of her team shots. And sometimes when you have a great player, you're going to lean on them. You know, just like in football, with high school football with the running backs, the running back's going to touch the ball pretty much every possession. And so what you really want to focus on is what you're doing on the defensive end. You know, however you can get points, you'll take them.
Under a minute to play here in the first quarter. Jim Hill in front by 3. Driving the lane, that's Harnett. He lost it, and it went out of bounds. Turnover against Gulfport. Jim Hill basketball. And McClure will throw it in bounds to Thomas. They're both rocking the flat tops there. McClure's is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, it looks like he's been working on that for a while.
Ball swung over to McClure. To Seals, a 3 straight away, misses it too long, rebounded by Holloman. He brings it up the floor himself, 20 seconds to go here, driving to the basket. Harnett in air, passes it to Wallace, 3, misses it in and out, no good. It's swatted out of bounds. It's off of Gulfport. Jim Hill basketball.
Yeah, Gulfport is really getting some good looks at the basket. I'm pretty sure at some point those are going to start to fall. Jim Hill has to do a better job of picking those guys up.
10 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Jim Hill trying to add on to the 3-point lead here before this first quarter comes to a close. McClure goes around the screen and now will pick it up and shoot it. Rims it in and out, no. Put back. Doesn't fall by Shelby. Wouldn't have counted if it would have gone down anyway. But the first quarter comes to a close. Jim Hill leading Gulfport 13-10. Want to remind you, you can buy a DVD of this game and all the other games as well in this tournament and in the playoffs. All you got to do is go to www.mishsaa.tv. www.mishsaa.tv. That is for this game and for all the other games being played here at Mississippi Coliseum. Once again, Jim Hill leading 13-10 over Gulfport. So we'll get ready for the start of the second quarter. Take you through some of these numbers. First for Jim Hill, they're 6 of 15 from the floor for 40% so far. Kind of struggling from behind the arc, just 1 of 6 for 17%. Leading scorer for Jim Hill, they got a couple players with 4 points. Seals and Fred Thomas with 4 points. And Thomas is so good, you know he's going to wake up eventually. Thomas is just 2 of 6 so far from the floor. Now for Gulfport, shooting 36% from the floor. They are 0 of 4 from 3-point territory. Jim Hill basketball. Thomas looking at Sanford's speech as he brings the ball up the floor. McClure going around a screen. There's a whistle and a foul against Gulfport.
Gulfport is stepping out real aggressive on the ball screens and forcing the guard to go back the other way. Right there, they got tagged with a foul, but I really like how they're stepping out on the screen.
So 6A semifinals games between Biloxi and Jim Hill. The winner of this game will play Tupelo for the state championship. And of course, next year it'll be different. 4 teams will make its way to the tournament and not 2. What are your thoughts about going from 2 to 4?
Well, I really love the idea. Like I said, this is a showcase for a lot of players, and you have a lot of scouts coming here and watch these players play in the big houses that don't come during regular season games, and so it's more exposure for the players. And the more you can get in here, the better. I really believe. You know, the champions will rise to the top at the end, no matter how many teams it is. And so the more teams, I think, the better.
It is Gulfport basketball. So you played here a couple times, as we talked about a little earlier. What's it like, you know, high school student coming here to the Coliseum playing in front of a packed house?
Oh, it was amazing. When I was playing here, it was 3,000 or 4,000 people on the outside waiting to get in. So really amazing to play here and have a chance to see everything that's going on in here and have the fans come out and really watch you play. It's a fun thing to experience.
There's a 3 knocked down by Michael Harnett. We're tied at 13. 7:05 remaining in the second quarter. And you played at one of the most well-known basketball programs in the state, so that's a trip you guys are used to making, coming here to the Coliseum.
Oh, yeah. My senior year was the first championship in the history of Provine basketball. And I tell people all the time, I was one of the players that was fortunate enough to be able to get to start it. It wasn't always a powerhouse, but after my senior year, we went to the Coliseum at 11, 12 times, and it was an experience for us, and it was definitely great to be a Provine to a powerhouse.
Misfire by Jashire Harnett, rebounded by Jim Hill, tied at 13. That's Thomas in traffic, puts it up and in. Nice move by Fred Thomas. He's got 6. Going the other way, a wide open teammate catch and shoot 3. Jones misses it too long. Rebounded by Jim Hill.
Yeah.
Jim Hill coming off a tough loss against Tupelo, 43-42. You know they would like another chance for a rematch in the state championship game. Gulfport coming off a big win over Biloxi, 58-40. There's another shot by Thomas, right side baseline, missing it. Rebounded by Gulfport.
Thomas is getting some really good looks at the basket. He's making some and just missing some, but I think Gulfport's going to have to do a better job of keeping the ball out of his hands.
This is Jones, picks up a screen, high left side, picks up his dribble. In the low post, bobbled by Lee, but he puts it up. No, tipped around. Forrest Hill gets it. Looking ahead, this is White who jams it home for Jim Hill. Big time dunk for White. Timeout called on the floor. Jim Hill on a 4-0 run here, 17-13 they lead over Gulfport. Every time you get one of those breakaway dunks, always gets the crowd into the games.
Oh, yeah, it's a really good leak out for Jim Hill. They look to get out in transition. They have a lot of horses on that team. A lot of guys can really get up and jam the ball, even some of the shorter players. So Gulfport has to do a good job of keeping them out of transition games because they can really finish.
How many of those breakaway dunks that you have in your career?
Oh,
it's kind of what you were known for at Ole Miss, just jamming it home.
Had quite a few. I think I had my career high in dunks against a Gulfport, 98 Gulfport team. I think I had 7 dunks that game. And, you know, I've got 4 of them early.
7 dunks in a game.
Yeah, I got 4 of them real early. I think that point guard sat down for a lot of games after that. He was throwing it straight to me.
Gulfport with a basketball, down by 4. There's a whistle and a foul as Harvey is fouled at the top of the circle.
But I think that's one of the things that's understated in basketball today is, you know, I benefited from a lot of good point guards that played pressure defense, so I can get out and just deny the lanes. I think that's one of the things that made Allen Iverson great on defense is having Eric Snow there to put pressure on the point guard to make the pass to the wing a lot looser pass than would normally be. And Iverson was able to use his quickness to get out in the lanes. Wasn't it? He's such a great defensive player. He just had good instincts.
Holloman with a strong move to the hoop, puts it up and in. Gets it to a 2-point Jim Hill lead. Thomas in stride, a 3, bullseye. Fred Thomas from the left wing.
That's a really good rhythm shot there for Fred Thomas. You got to find him in transition and not give him an open shot, because that's one of the things he does well is knock down open shots.
5-point Jim Hill lead. They almost get a turnover. Gulfport stays with it. Tossing up a shot in traffic. Jones, no. Jim Hill gets the rebound. White brings it up the floor in the lane. Passes off to the left wing. Boblet getting it back. That's Hampton. Puts it back to Morse. To White, who will set up the offense here for the Tigers. 4:05 to go, second quarter, 5-point Jim Hill lead. Winner of this game plays for the state championship against the Tupelo Golden Wave. Thomas lost it in the lane, turnover. 2-on-2 the other way, Gulfport, and here comes the third member of the party. The ball is deflected out of bounds off of Jim Hill. Nice defense there by Morris.
One of the things about Jim Hill's team is when they do turn the ball over, it's so hard to score on them because every guy on their team is long and athletic, so they get back and challenge your shot at the rim. So just getting a turnover doesn't guarantee you an easy basket against them because they will hustle back and block the shot.
Harnett floats one to Holloman, who will catch and shoot a 3 straight away. Too long. Offensive rebound, Jones. Passes to Wallace. Right elbow jumper, good. Gets it to a 3-point Jim Hill lead. 3:35 to go in this first half. So you mentioned a couple times, played Jim Hill this year. Which team has impressed you the most so far?
Well, I think Wayne County was real impressive last night, the way they just dismantled their Starkville team. And they did a good job last night of putting a lot of pressure on their team and just really taking them out of the ball game. I think Starkville had 30 points. That's got to be a season low for them.
Offensive foul against McClure as he drove to the basket. It's Gulfport basketball. Wayne County certainly historically known for their football, but they are phenomenal this year in basketball.
Oh yeah, they're a really good basketball team. I seen Coach go 13-14 deep into his bench last night, and there was never a drop off. He had 2 dandy dozen players, and one of them got in foul trouble. And guys came in, stepped in, and did a good job in his absence.
Arnett travels with the basketball, turns it over. Jim Hill will have the basketball. 3:04 to go, second quarter. Jim Hill out in front 20-17. McClure will bring it up the floor for the Tigers. This Jim Hill team, they shoot 44% as a team from the floor. Driving to the basket. This is Seals, puts it up, no, gets it back though, and he's fouled.
Now you can see the athleticism right there by Jim Hill. Seals shot that ball, and it looks like other guys had a chance to get it, but he was so quick on his second jump, he went right back up and got the ball and got the foul.
So not a lot of free throws in this game. It'll be the first trip to the free throw line for Jim Hill. Be Seals, a senior, makes the first free throw there. 69% this season, averaging 9 points and 4 rebounds. Seals has played in 30 games this year for the Tigers. Second free throw is up and good. 22-17, Jim Hill in front of Gulfport. Jim Hill going with some pressure around midcourt. And Jashir Harnett is bumped right around that timeline. Foul against Jim Hill. Foul is against Dennis McClure, his second. And that'll be team foul number 7 against Jim Hill, so Gulfport will be shooting free throws the rest of this first half.
Yeah, you get in a bonus there. Not a bad foul there. You're trying to put pressure on, but I think if he would have went to the left side, he had a left-handed player there, strong left. If you go to the left side and make him cross over, you have a better chance of getting a turnover there instead of going to his right side and letting him go to his strong hand.
Arnett makes the first free throw of a 1-and-1. This is Jashir, just a freshman, and he's second on the team in scoring with 11 points a game.
Yeah, really good-looking freshman. Got a nice body, nice touch on his shot, and you know, Coach Miller has 4 years with this kid, and he's only going to get better.
Misses the second one, rebounded by Seals of Jim Hill. 2:32 to go, first half. Jim Hill in front 22-18. Winner of this game will play Tupelo for the state championship on March the 3rd at 8:30. Seals. There's a nice baseline jumper made by Carter. That's his first bucket. Assist from Seals. 24-18, Jim Hill. In the lane in traffic, that's Lee. Put it up, no. Tipped out of bounds off of Jim Hill. Eddie Lee does not miss many shots at all. He shoots 70% from the field.
Wow.
70.
Well, that's the way to earn you some playing time.
Shelby floats it in. Ball works its way to Williams. Heather Jones. Shot in the lane is made by Holloman. Holloman is the leading scorer for Gulfport, 17 points a game this year. Gulfport going with pressure. Jim Hill works his way out of it. 1:45 to go. 4-point Jim Hill lead. There's a three. Seals short from the left wing, rebounded by Gulfport. They look ahead to Harnett, to Holloman. Head fake, driving to the basket. Try to bounce pass it in the left corner, but there's a whistle and a foul against Holloman. Offensive foul.
Yeah, I think he overextended himself right there. Joe baseline didn't have anything. He had 3 guys on him. Should have just pulled that basketball out and gave his team another possession.
That is the second foul against Holloman, and now he's got to go sit on the bench. He can't afford to have him pick up his 3rd.
No, you definitely don't want that.
Team foul number 4 against Gulfport as well. Fred Thomas Hands it off to McClure, who will slowly work the ball up the floor. Jim Hill leading by 4. Thomas high left side. Just Carter's pass is deflected right in front of us around midcourt.
Yeah, good hustle there by Gulfport. They're getting out and denying the wings. And I really believe that's the key to playing man-to-man defense. You can't allow the ball to go where they're trying to send it. You got to force them to do something they're not ready to do.
Jim Hill leading by 4, 1:07 to play. Seals trying to get it to Thomas. Danny does in selection for the Tigers. Thomas gives it up to Williams, to McClure. Speech, floater in the lane, misses it too strong, but there to clean it up is Williams. Nice dunk by Williams. Jim Hill in front by 6, 40 seconds to play. Bashir Harnett floats one on the other side to his Michael Harnett, back to Jashir. Gulfport gonna hold it for the final shot here in the first half. Bashir Harnett calls for it. 11 seconds, 10 seconds. Picks up a screen, drives the lane, fakes a pass, and puts it up and in. What a move by the freshman. 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Thomas around midcourt will launch a running 3. It counts if it goes, misses it off the top of the glass. But the first half comes to an end. Jim Hill leading Gulfport 26-22. We will take a quick break. Halftime here between Jim Hill and Gulfport. Jim Hill in front 26-22. You're watching the MHSAA Network.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful.
For more information on how your school can join the Play on School broadcast program and participate in the MHSAA network, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Welcome back. Halftime between Jim Hill and Gulfport. Jim Hill Tigers out in front 26-22 over Gulfport. And David, what did you like what you saw there in the first half between these two teams?
Well, I think I really like the man-to-man defense I saw from both teams. Both teams getting out and challenging on the wings. Gulfport did a good job of trapping, and that's how they got back in the ball game with their full-court trapping defense. And Fred Thomas played a pretty good half there. He led his team with 9 points scoring there, and they're going to need more out of him coming down the stretch here. I think Gulfport did a pretty decent job on it. He's only 4-12 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3. And so that's a pretty good job on a guy that's averaging 20 points a game. But they're going to have to do a much better job because he's really a second-half player. And Gulfport on the other end, they're doing a pretty solid job on offense. They got to get going to the basket a little bit more, get some more fouls, and knock down a couple more open shots. They're wide open for open shots. They got to make those.
So halftime here between Jim Hill and Gulfport. Jim Hill leading at halftime 26-22. So we will take another quick break as you're watching the MHSAA Network. Getting ready for the start of the second half between Jim Hill and Gulfport. What a great first half it was, but Jim Hill in front 26-22, and the winner of this game will play Tupelo for the state championship on March the 3rd. Individual numbers, Fred Thomas, the Dandy Dozen selection, averaging 9 points and has 9 points and 2 rebounds in that first half. But some of the halftime stats so far, first for Jim Hill as a team, shot 41% from the floor from three-point territory, just 2 of 10. At the free throw line, Jim Hill is 2 of 2. They are out-rebounding Gulfport 16-8. Jim Hill has 9 turnovers. Gulfport has 8. Gulfport kind of struggling shooting the ball, just 9 of 22 so far from three-point territory. Gulfport just 1 of 8. Gulfport has 2 players with 5 points. Eddie Lee and Jeremy Holloman, 2 of their top scorers, have 5 points apiece. And really, Jim Hill, just Fred Thomas leading the way with 9. Next closest is Seals, who has 6 points and 5 rebounds. So 5 rebounds are tops on the team in the first half for Jim Hill.
I think Jim Hill, the difference in the game is they're up in fast break points 6-0 right now. I think Gulfport has to do a better job of cutting.
So Gulfport with the basketball to start this second half. This is their first trip to Jackson since 2002 when they won the state championship. Trying to get back there to play Tupelo on March the 3rd. Jones passes it off to Harvey, back to Jones. To Lee. Lee loses it, underhands it, stolen away. Here's Fred Thomas. Showtime as he dunks it with a little pose at the end there as well. Big time jam by Fred Thomas.
There they go with another fast break basket. Those are easy baskets that you can't afford to give a team as good as Jim Hill.
Lee in the post goes up and he is fouled. First foul of the second half goes against Jim Hill. Foul goes against Fred Thomas, his first. And Eddie Lee will be at the foul line to shoot 2 for Gulfport, where he's a 56% free throw shooter. 11 points and 7 rebounds a game this year. Misses short on the first free throw there. Lee is just a junior, one of 5 juniors on this Gulfport team. Playing for Owen Miller, first-year head coach for Gulfport. Makes the second free throw there. But Owen Miller, he was at Ole Miss for 5 years. Left Ole Miss to be the head coach here at Gulfport. He was also at State for 3 years. 28-23, Jim Hill in front of Gulfport. Morris to White to Thomas at the top of the circle. Guarded against Jones. Low post pass stolen away by Gulfport. They're coming the other way. 3-on-3. There's a shot at the free throw line by Harden. Bounces around and falls out. No good. Here come the Tigers. Fred Thomas again with a big-time dunk. Gets the crowd off its feet.
Yeah, he can really fly in the open court. They did a good job of looking for him. I think they're up now 10-0 in fast break points. That's the difference in the game.
Jim Hill in front by 7. Trying to go low post to Lee. Spins into a double team. Puts it up. No, but he is fouled. Jim Hill thought Lee took too many steps there. But Eddie Lee works his way back to the free throw line. Lee just a tough player. Leads this Gulfport team in charges. Has 22 charges that he's taken this year.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I've seen in this tournament that I really haven't liked is how players just sit behind other players in the post and don't really fight around. And when you give a guy the ball in the post down there, it's really not a whole lot you can do with any player that has any kind of moves.
Lee makes the second free throw, trims it to a 6-point Jim Hill lead. Gulfport going with pressure here. Morris in the lane, picking up the dribble. That's White. And putting it up and in.
Well, Jim Hill starting to separate a little bit here. Gulfport really needs a couple key baskets and key stops to get back in the game.
8-point Jim Hill lead. They led by as much as 9 early in the first half, leading by 8 right here. Gulfport trying to answer. Jashir Harnett, just a freshman. Passes it off to Jones. To Harvey. Shot at the free throw line. Misses it too long. Offensive rebound. Harvey puts it up and in, and he's fouled. Yeah. Otis Harvey, the junior, missed his shot, but got it right back.
Yeah, and I think that was a tough break right there for Jim Hill. They played good defense, got a stop, but they weren't able to get the rebound, and Gulfport got a much-needed basket.
Otis Harvey, his dad, Augustus, played for Gulfport when they went 40-0 and won the state championship. Misses the free throw there. Offensive rebound. Heilman, he puts it up and in. Kind of looked like Jim Hill wasn't paying attention there. Gulfport capitalizes.
Yeah, that's a tough break for Jim Hill. They gave up 4 points on that one possession.
Morris floats it to Seals. Bounce pass to Thomas. Trying to post up Harvey. Fadeaway shot. He's fouled, and they'll go to the free throw line to shoot 2 for the Tigers.
Hey, you never want to foul a player shooting a fadeaway jump shot. right there, you just put your hands up, you contest a shot. If he makes that, he's just a good player.
What about that move there? Earlier you kind of said if there's a weakness of Fred Thomas, maybe his one-on-one game. That time had his back to the basket, trying to post up Harvey, goes away with a fadeaway jump shot there.
Yeah, not a great shot. I've seen Fred play a lot this year, and I don't think I've seen him make that shot once. And so that's one of the shots you want to force him into instead of the fast break dunks. And so they did a good job forcing him to take a bad shot there, but they fouled him. So you got to really be careful here.
Thomas is a 71% free throw shooter. He's going to play at Mississippi State next year. Misses his second free throw there, rebounded by Lee of Gulfport. Bashir Harnett floats one ahead to Harvey. To Holloman. Holloman will shoot it straight away. And it's a three-pointer. Good by Jeremy Holloman. 33-31. Jim Hill in front.
Yeah, just like that, Gulfport is right back in the ball game.
This is Shelby, high right side. Trying to go to the basket, picks up his dribble. Kind of no man's land, now has to burn a timeout. So Shelby hasn't played a whole lot today, checks in there, and has to burn a timeout. And Stanford's speech wasn't very pleased with it.
Yeah, I think he was, man didn't have nowhere to go there. He's just dribbling the basketball, trying to do something he doesn't normally do. So coach is getting him an earful right now.
So 4:38 to go in the third quarter. Jim Hill in front 33-31. Jim Hill, 23-10 this year is Jim Hill. And on the flip side, Gulfport, 29-4. Jim Hill right here with a 2-point lead, 33-31. The winner of this game will play Tupelo for the state championship on March the 3rd at 8:30 right here at Mississippi Coliseum. Thomas puts it in the hands of Shelby, drives to the lane and jams it home. Nobody anywhere near Shelby, just took it to the hoop.
I tell you what, we played at Jim Hill, and Shelby dunked the ball about 3 or 4 times as hard as I've ever seen anybody dunk a basketball. He can really get up off the floor.
Not the tallest guy. Well, they listen at 6'9". I don't know if he's 6'9".
6'9". Wow.
There's a turnover by Gulfport.
No, he's
puts it back in the hands of Jim Hill.
He might not even be 6'2". But he definitely jumps like he's 6'9".
4:13 to go, third quarter. Jim Hill in front by 4. A wet spot on the floor. They're trying to dry that spot up. Fred Thomas is double teamed in the corner. Floats one up ahead to White. 3-on-3. White pull up jumper. Free throw line short. Tipped around. There's a whistle and a foul against Gulfport. That'll be the second foul against Gulfport. Stops the clock, 4:04.
Yeah, Jim Hill is really doing a good job of fighting on the glass down there. Right there, we're able to get an over-the-back call on Gulfport.
Thomas will inbound from the baseline. Floats it, fadeaway shot, and it's good by White, and he's fouled.
And the second time they ran that play, they ran it for Thomas in the first half, and he was able to get a basket. And right there, White was able to get a basket. They're just using their individual skills to get open there and throwing the ball up to the rim. I think the guy guarding the inbound has to do a better job of not letting that ball go up.
White, a junior, 61% free throw shooter. Second most attempts this year, 206 attempts. Second behind Fred Thomas, who has well over 500 shots. His substitution by Jim Hill as Whitey just shot those free throws, comes out. 4 minutes to play here. Jim Hill in front by 7. Jones backs away, picks up his dribble. Underhands it off to Harnett. Driving to the hoop. Floater rattles around. No. Rebounded by Jim Hill. That was Shelby that got the rebound. And then Gulfport gets it right back. That's Jashir Harnett. Nice play by him.
Yeah, Gulfport is just trying to hang around this game. They're not really shooting the ball well, but they're making a lot of hustle plays, and it's paying off for them here.
So Jashir Harnett, 71% free throw shooters, played in 32 games this year. Averaging 11 points. Also got 4 assists per game, 2 steals a game. Makes the first free throw there, cuts it to a 6-point Jim Hill lead. Subs for Gulfport. Jamison Goins checks into action. Harnett's second free throw is up and good. 5-point Jim Hill lead. Gulfport again going with pressure. Ball's batted around. Another turnover Gulfport has forced. Trying to float it in the right corner. The ball's poked out of bounds. I thought it was deflected off of Jim Hill. Now the referees are going to meet. First referee signaled it's Jim Hill basketball, and it will be Jim Hill basketball.
Yeah, I think the ref was just trying to make sure the call was right, and they did a good job of getting it right there. I think the ball did go off Gulfport.
Gulfport again almost gets another turnover. Fred Thomas races up the floor, 2-on-2. Thomas in the paint, leaner, rattles around and goes down. Fred Thomas with a shot in the lane. 7-point Jim Hill lead. Bashir Harnett, high right side, pulls up for a 3, short. Tipped around in the left corner, but there is a whistle and a foul against Jim Hill.
Yeah, Gulfport is getting some nice looks. They're just not making any shots right now. You got to do a better job of knocking down shots.
Foul actually goes against Gulfport. It goes against Jeremy Holloman, his third. Each team has 4 team fouls. Jim Hill with the basketball, leading by 7. 3:05 to play here in the third quarter. Atkinson, ball on his right hip, puts him in the hands of Fred Thomas. Danny Dozen selection. Leads his team in scoring, 20 points a game. Thomas high right side, pulls up for a 3. Bullseye, Fred Thomas.
He's just making good shots right now. This is a miss or make game, and right now Jim Hill's making shots and Gulfport's missing them.
Thomas claps his hands, says, let's go. Biggest lead for Jim Hill tonight, up by 10. Gulfport trying to make it back to single-digit Jim Hill lead. Michael Harnett, bounce pass to Holloman, the leading scorer for Gulfport. Harnett, right corner. Bounce pass to Jashir Harnett in stride. Misses it too short. Rebounded by Jim Hill. Good look there for Jashir Harnett.
Yeah, he's getting some good looks. You just got to knock him down.
Another pull-up 3. Nothing but the bottom of the net for Fred Thomas. This Jim Hill crowd is on their feet. They're fired up. Timeout called on the floor by Gulfport. So Thomas, back-to-back possessions for the Tigers.
Yeah,
he makes 2 threes.
He's really taking over this ball game right now. Fred, I talked to him during the season, and he really wants a state championship this year. And he said it's all he's focusing on. And right now, he looks like he's going to have a good shot at getting that.
Absolutely. Fred Thomas, a senior, 6'5", can play both the guard and forward positions. Thomas, Danny Dozen selection. Sign to play at State under Rick Stansberry. Stansberry's been at State for 14 years. We'll get another Danny Dozen player to work with. Thomas is the 5th Danny Dozen to come from Jim Hill. The other ones, Roy Dixon, Troy Sanders, Mario Joyner, and Stanford Speech, the head coach of Jim Hill right now.
Definitely has a good mentor to listen to in his own head coach. Did it real well when he was at Jim Hill.
1:35 to play in the third quarter. Gulfport trying to get or trim into this Jim Hill lead. Down by 13, the largest lead the Tigers have built today. Harvey to Harnett, back to Harvey. Man-to-man defense, Jim Hill. Jashir Harnett, he'll pull up for 3. Rattles around, no, tipped around. Fred Thomas snatches it out of the air with one hand. Another three-point attempt, this one from way behind the line, and he's fouled.
Yeah,
Tell Thomas is feeling it. He wanted that one to fall down too.
That's a really bad foul right there. Now, don't get me wrong. I've seen Thomas make shots from back there, but you got to really see if he can knock that one down, get a hand up. If he makes that one, like I said, he's just a better player. But you can't foul right there.
So Thomas at the free throw line, where he's 71% this season. Free throw is up and in right there. So Stanford Speech, the head coach for Jim Hill, played at Mississippi Valley State. His cousin is Tim Speech, who's also a basketball coach as well. He's the head coach at Bailey.
Yeah, both coaches doing really well right now. That Bailey program really played a good game the other day against Boonville. They ended up losing that game, but they have nothing to be ashamed of. I think it's one of the few times Bailey has actually made it to the big house. So Coach Speech is doing a good job over there.
Absolutely. Thomas misses the second free throw there. Jim Hill so far in this third quarter, 8 of 9 from the floor. That's unbelievable. As Thomas misses that free throw as well. 1 minute to play. Jim Hill leading 47-33. Holloman, the top of the arc, passes it off to Walker. Holloman, a deep 3, air ball. Goes out of bounds, and Holloman hears it from this Jim Hill crowd. 43 seconds to go. Jim Hill with the basketball leading 47-33. Sub for the Tigers. Coming in, Anthony Hampton, a senior, coming in to action for the first time tonight. Not too many people named Anthony anymore. You got Penny Hardaway. That's the only other one I can think of.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that name too many times. I think Clinton has a guy named Anthony Felton who's a pretty good player over there, but that's a rare name there.
Holloman, 40 seconds to work with here in the third quarter. Bounce pass to Lee. He puts it on the deck, spins into a double team. Back out, 3 from Holloman, too short. Offensive rebound, Arnett. Driving it to the hoop baseline, puts it up, rattles around, no, tipped around. And another opportunity here for Gulfport. Jashir Harnett, 3 straight away, air ball, goes out of bounds. And again, this Jim Hill crowd on their feet, making sure Jashir Harnett hears about that air ball.
Yeah, they're really not shooting the basketball well here. I don't know if they have tired legs or whatever it is, but they got to do a better job of shooting the ball if they want to stay in this ball game.
5 seconds. The ball's poked around, stolen away by Holloman. 2-on-2. Holloman dumps it off low post to Harnett, puts it up and in before the buzzer went off, so it does count. Nice play there by Gulfport. As we go into the start of the fourth quarter, Jim Hill in front 47-35. I want to remind you, you can watch all of the MHSAA championships on demand at MISSHAA.TV. Just go online, go to MISSHAA.TV, and you can watch all the basketball games, but not just the basketball games. You can watch football, baseball, you name it. Everything right there on MISSHAA.TV. As we go to the start of the fourth quarter, Jim Hill in front of Gulfport, 47-35. Take a look at some of these numbers so far for Jim Hill. For the game, shooting 53% from the field. Jim Hill is 4 of 12 from three-point territory, and 3 of those three-pointers have come from Fred Thomas. Started to heat up there in that third quarter. Thomas has 23 points. Gulfport shooting 35% from the floor, struggling just 2 of 15 from behind the arc. Gulfport's leading scorer is Jeremy Holloman with 10 points. Thomas trying to get his 25th point, loses it in the lane. Just underway here in the fourth quarter. Jim Hill leading by 12. Holloman in the lane, floater falls. Holloman's got 12. Nice move to the basket there. Gets it to 10. Gulfport trying to get some stops on defense. The winner of this game plays Tupelo for the 6A state championship on March the 3rd. Thomas again back to the basket, and now will dribble it to the top of the key. Last time he did that fadeaway shot there. Now dribbles it out, passes it to his teammates.
I think Gulfport central guy hit him a little double team right there, and he did a good job of getting it out of his hand and not forcing a bad shot.
White to Atkinson. To Fred Thomas. Jim Hill just burning some clock here. White to Thomas. Head fake. Puts it on the floor. Backs away. Gulfport desperately needs some stops on defense here. Jim Hill just burning some clock. Speech to White. Poked away, gets it back. Double team, pass is stealing away. This is Harnett who got the steal and puts it up and in. Single digit lead for Jim Hill now. But there are a lot of contact. Three bodies fall to the floor. There's a whistle and a foul. Timeout called on the floor by Jim Hill. 6 minutes and 16 seconds to go in the game. Jim Hill in front 47-39, and you can start to feel it a little bit here, David. Gulfport clawing their way back in this game.
Yeah, Gulfport is really clawing back right here. Jim Hill has to be careful. I think they're trying to hold the ball a little bit too early. They need to continue to run their offense here. They're only up 8 points, and so they got to do a better job here of running their offense and still scoring baskets. So it's a long way to go in this game.
Long way indeed. We got 6 minutes to work with here in the fourth quarter. Jim Hill leading 47-39. Jim Hill coming off a tough 1 point loss to Tupelo, only 18-43-42. And Gulfport coming off a big victory over Biloxi, 58-40, back on the 18th as well. Each of these teams trying to fight their way into the state championship game to play Tupelo on March the 3rd. It is Jim Hill basketball coming out of this timeout. Morris will inbound it for the Tigers. It's Morris, Thomas, White, Atkinson, and Seals on the floor for Jim Hill. This is White. Gulfport trying to get a stop on defense here on the 6 minutes to play in the game. Thomas in the lane. He's fouled from behind.
Yeah, they got to really attack the basket here. You don't want to hold the ball too long because the more passes you have to make, the more of a chance that somebody can steal the pass. So.
Foul goes against Walker. That is his first team foul, number 6 against Gulfport. And Morris will inbound it from the baseline for the Tigers. Looking to wide open Seals, who puts it up and in. Miscommunication there from Gulfport.
A really good inbound play there by Jim Hill, and that is always the fault of the inbound man. You never let a pass come in under the basket. That's why you're standing there.
Back up to a double-digit lead for Jim Hill. In stride. Missing it too short. That's Walker. Offensive rebound, Gulfport. There's a turnover. Jashir Harnett got the rebound. Just took too many steps on his way to the basket. For Gulfport, 15 turnovers tonight. They only average 13 a game.
Yeah, tough call there on the travel. Gulfport doing a good job of putting pressure on here, though.
Jim Hill with the basketball, leading by 10. Trying to go to the state championship game and play Tupelo. Gulfport just needs some stops on defense, try to cut into this 10-point Jim Hill lead.
Jim Hill is really trying to shorten the game here.
Absolutely. The past couple possessions, they've just been burning the clock in no hurry at all whatsoever to get a shot off. Thomas in the lane, blew the dunk, and Gulfport gets the rebound. Looked like he couldn't decide if he wanted to lay it in or dunk it. There's a three. Holloman, good from the left wing.
That's a big-time swing. There's a 5-point swing. You miss a dunk on one end and give up a three on the other end. Now the game goes from being you're up 12 points to now you're up 7. So that's a big-time play there.
Absolutely tough break there for Jim Hill. Timeout called on the floor. Jim Hill leading 49-42, 4:48 to go in the game. If you're Gulfport, how do you build off that? You catch a break on a missed dunk, and then you hit a big-time three.
Well, coach is in the huddle right now, really trying to get his guys going. And you can see him really imploring his guys to pick it up here. You got to keep this momentum going. You finally knock down a shot, and that's one of the things they haven't done tonight is knock down open shots. So if they can make a couple more, this is a totally different ball game.
You see Owen Miller right there in his first season as the head coach of Gulfport. What a fantastic job that he's done. He's used to playing here as well. Owen Miller won 2 state titles as a player with Gulfport under legendary head coach Bert Jenkins. Miller played his college ball, played a couple of years at Lamar, and then finished out his career right here in Jackson at Mississippi College.
Yeah, Coach Miller, I know him pretty well. He's at Ole Miss a couple of years after I left, and he's a really good coach. He's got this Gulfport team looking really good right now.
4:48 to go in the game. Jim Hill with the basketball leading 49-42. Gulfport trying to get some stops on defense. White being guarded by Holloman. White picks up his dribble, puts it in the hands of Seals. Seals driving to the basket, head fake. Shot is blocked by Lee. Here comes Gulfport. Big time block there by Eddie Lee.
Yeah, Lee playing real big down low for his team right now.
There's a three. Harnett air ball. Save back in play, but it'll belong to Jim Hill.
Yeah, a lot of hustle there by the young man. He went through the little barriers down there and almost ran into a couple cheerleaders there. So he's hustling for his team. Really wants to win here. They need another big stop and a score on the other end.
It totally knocks over the barricade there. Referee tried to put it back together and said, "Oh, I'll do it later."
Yeah, and I think that's another air ball from Gulfport. I don't know what's going on with their shooting tonight, but if they can make a couple shots, they're in this ball game.
That's about their 4th air ball, all on 3-point attempts. 4:18 to play in the game. Jim Hill with the basketball leading by 7. Morris will inbound, gets the ball from the referee. Trying to get it to Fred Thomas, and he does. Thomas will weave his way up the floor for the Tigers. With Gulfport here, time starting to become somewhat of a factor. And do you change anything here? Thomas with a tough shot, too short, offensive rebound, put up and in by Shelby. In midair, got a one-handed rebound and put it back.
I think Gulfport at some point is going to have to pick up full court and trap. They did a good job earlier with that trapping defense, got a couple steals. They're going to have to do that again to get back in this ball game.
Under 4 minutes to play, 9-point Jim Hill lead. Lee at the free throw line, puts it on the deck, drive to the hoop, it's open, and finger rolls it in. Nice move by Eddie Lee. Thomas races up the floor, 4-on-3, he's fouled, count the basket. Fred Thomas has taken the second half over.
Yeah, he's definitely the best player on the floor, and he's showing it here. He had a man up the floor, but at this point in the game, Fred said, man, this is my game. I'm going to take over this game, and got an and one there, and he really lifted his team here.
Thomas is 6'5", they list him at 180. Bright future at Mississippi State.
Oh, yeah, he's going to get a lot bigger. He's really going to help that team. Looks like he can help them right now from the way they've been playing lately. They're missing Rodney Hood here, and Thomas is the same kind of player. He's long and athletic and really shoot the basketball.
Holloman is tied up on his route to the basket, got wrapped up with Fred Thomas. And Holloman will be at the free throw line here. How much different is it, when you're coming from high school, when you go to college and, you have to go to the weight room and add muscle and all that good stuff?
Oh, the transition from high school to college is tremendous. I think one of the things they need to do to help these guys transition is to put a shot clock in. That was one of the biggest adjustments I had to make going to college is, looking up and seeing that shot clock as a guard. You have to know how much is on that clock, and it's something you don't experience in high school. And even with the schedules and everything these guys have with all the classes and study halls and the practice and everything, it's a big adjustment going from just going to school all day and just going to practice. They have so many things, and it's not anybody there to knock on your door a lot of times to tell you, hey, you got to go this, you got to go to that. So that's a big adjustment that they'll have to make. But I think Fred Thomas will do fine at Mississippi State. Got a good staff up there, and they can really use his services right now.
Absolutely. Timeout called on the floor. There's 3 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the game. Jim Hill leading 53-44 over Gulfport. So Fred Thomas, another Danny Dozen selection that'll go to Mississippi State under head coach Rick Stansberry. He's been there 14 years. That's kind of hard to believe. He's been there 14 years. And, of course, Andy Kennedy's been at Ole Miss for 6 years. Can't forget about Larry Eustace and the job he's done at Southern Miss this year.
Oh, yeah, Coach Eustace is a really good coach. I had a chance to play against his Iowa State team when he was at Iowa State, and had a chance to play against one of the quickest guards I ever faced in Jamal Tinsley, a former NBA player. And so Eustace has done a really good job there.
Jashir Harnett tried to throw it off the back of a Jim Hill player, got it right back, but his foot was on the line and turned it over. We saw that in the Tupelo game earlier, and that 2:30 game. Started in that contest, backfires there against Gulfport. Jim Hill trying to add on to their lead. Thomas bobbles it, gets it back. Who is the most impressive player you played against?
Well, wow.
You mentioned Jamal Tinsley, former Indiana Pacer, played for the Grizzlies, bounced around a little bit.
I would probably have to say I had a chance to play against Tracy McGrady in high school at ABCD camp, Adidas camp in New Jersey, and he came into camp as ranked, I think, like 280 some out of 300 players, and he left the camp ranked number 1. And he was about 6'8", and he was playing the same position I was playing, and I can remember having to guard him on the post one time, and I was trying to body him up and give him that forearm bar, and my forearm bar was actually under his legs. He was just that tall over me. And he was really a good guard, man. He could rise, and he was very hungry at that time. He wanted to prove himself, and he really did a good job. And so I would have to say he was the best player I faced. I did a pretty good job against him, but I think with his size and length, he kind of reminded me of Fred Thomas a lot with some of the things that he was able to do on the basketball court.
Morris misses his second free throw there. Well, there's a reason why McGrady was drafted by the Raptors in the first round coming out of high school.
Oh, yeah.
In the lane, in traffic, knocked around. Everybody diving on top of it. And timeout called by Jim Hill. Gulfport head coach Owen Miller not happy at all. He's saying he didn't even have the basketball. But Jim Hill does have the basketball. They call a timeout. 2:41 to go in the game. Jim Hill leading 54-44.
Yeah, I think that's a good call by the official. The official didn't initially call the timeout. He had a guy standing in front of him signaling the timeout, and he waited till they got possession of the basketball. We've seen some really good officiating here in this tournament. They've done a good job, and I think that's why you see these guys out here. You see the best of the best out here in this tournament, and they've done a really, really good job.
Absolutely. So 2:41 to go. Jim Hill with the basketball, leading by 10. The winner of this game will play Tupelo for the 6A state championship. So you mentioned Tracy McGrady. What has happened to Tracy McGrady? He used to be, one of the top 5 players in the league, playing for Orlando and Houston. Now he's kind of bounced around between New York, just all over the place.
Well,
Detroit.
I think he kind of fell victim to the same thing that ended Scottie Pippen's career, and that's a back injury, and that's one of the things that's really bad. I ended up having a back injury when I was overseas, and trust me, it's one of the worst injuries you can have. And I think that's one of the things that's kind of slowed him down, you know, with having that back injury. He hadn't been able to work out like he used to work out. And some of the athletic ability that he had, he's kind of lost. So once you lose that athletic ability, you really have to have something else to fall back on.
Is that the most painful injury, back injury that you
Oh, my
suffered?
God, it's unbelievable.
In traffic, putting it up and in. Nice shot. That is Morris for Jim Hill. 56-44, 2:20 to play. There's a deep three. Holloman, too short. Tipped around, goes out of bounds as Fred Thomas completely hurdles the railing there. Watch out if you're the Gulfport cheerleaders.
Yeah, that's what you want to do to that railing. You want to get all the way over the top of it. Keep yourself from getting hurt.
Yeah, you don't want to hit it by any means. Gulfport basketball, they will inbound it. Arnett puts it in the hands of Holloman, lowers his shoulder, puts it up and in. Nice move by Holloman. 56-46, Jim Hill. Thomas floats it ahead to Scales. Scales to White, who tried to take off her flight, and a tough foul by Eddie Lee.
Yeah, that's what you really want to do. You want to go in there and challenge the big man down there. And White went in there strong. He did the only thing he could do, because anything else would have got blocked. Went in there to go dunk the basketball, and he got fouled.
White is 6'1", 160. Eddie Lee is 6'5", around 200 pounds. They collided right in midair. White, a 61% free throw shooter, averaging 8 points a game this year for Jim Hill. Makes the first free throw there. An 11-point Tigers lead. Jim Hill, head coach Stanford speech, telling a couple of his players to get back. Just 25 years old, head coach. But Jim Hill's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, right here, Jim Hill's going to go in a 2-3 zone to kind of force the team to shoot some bad shots here.
And right on cue, there's a deep three, missed badly by Jones, rebounded by Jim Hill. Morris puts it in the hands of Thomas. Back to Morris, back to Thomas. Lane is open and he slams it home. Fred Thomas with another big-time dunk.
Yeah, he's really put on a show here tonight. He's making his case for player of the year here in the state of Mississippi.
There's a three, Holloman. He misses long. Offensive rebound. Gulfport. Shot is blocked in the lane. That's Harvey. Gulfport stays with it. A no-look pass. Shot is blocked again. Fred Thomas gets in on the action. And this Jim Hill crowd is absolutely feeling it. I don't think any of them are sitting down in their seats right now. 109 to play.
Know that Jim Hill faithful real well. Their fans are diehard fans, and they're going to get up and get in your face, and they really love their team.
Seals is at the free throw line, a senior. 69% free throw shooters, played in 30 games this year for the Tigers. Seals' first free throw. Misses it, rims it in and out, no good. What a great game this has been. Close in the first half and in that third quarter, but here in the fourth quarter, it's been Jim Hill and especially Fred Thomas.
Oh, yeah, he's done a great job here. He's carried his team. Like I say, he's taking 300 more shots than anybody else, and you can see why, because he's a very efficient basketball player.
Rebounded by Gulfport, but they get it taken away again, and now Eddie Lee fouls Morris. And Jim Hill will go right back to the free throw line. 1:02 to remain. Jim Hill leading 60-46, and it's looking more and more like the Tigers will face the Tupelo Golden Wave for the state championship on March the 3rd.
Oh, yeah, they played a one-point game there a couple days back, and it was a really hotly contested game, and I'm sure Jim Hill's looking for another shot at Tupelo.
Absolutely. Those two teams met on the 18th, and Tupelo came away victorious 43-42. There's stoppage in play here because there's a fight in the stands right behind the Gulfport bench. Now they separate everybody and try to get everybody out of the arena in that section. So just 1:02 remain in this game. Jim Hill leading 60-46 at the free throw line. It'll be Terry Morris, a junior, one of 7 juniors on this Jim Hill team. No underclassmen on this Jim Hill team. Morris, 71% free throw shooter. Makes the first free throw there.
Yeah, we had some kind of altercation in the stands involving one of the players' parents, looks like, and he's visibly upset. I think it's I think the player is Eddie Lee. He's visibly upset over there, so hopefully everything's okay, and they get everything straightened out.
I hope so. You see head coach Owen Miller kind of talking to him a little bit as Morris makes both free throws. Under 1 minute to play, Jim Hill leading 62-46. There's a deep three. Harnett misses it too long. Offensive rebound, Gulfport. Holloman, step back three. He makes that one. Nice shot by Jeremy Holloman.
Yeah,
62-49.
Really not shot the ball well here tonight, but he got that one to go.
Jim Hill just trying to cross midcourt and burn this clock. Driving the lane, tossing up a shot, getting it to fall. That is Speech. Alonzo Speech, a senior, averaging 1 point a game. There's a shot made left side by Jeremy Holloman. 66-51, 20 seconds to play. Speech again, 3-on-2, bumped, and he is fouled. And he'll go to the line to shoot a pair for Jim Hill.
Speech said he wants to see his name in the paper in the morning.
Draws the foul there. Will try to get his 3rd point at the free throw line right here. 15 seconds to go. Jim Hill will play Tupelo for the 6A state championship on March the 3rd at 8:30. Speech misses the first free throw there. Now head coach Stanford Speech will make a few subs in here for the Tigers. Second free throw is rattled in for Alonzo Speech. He's got 3 points. 13 seconds to go, 65-51. Arnett in the lane, loses it, gets it back, and he puts it up and in for Gulfport. And that will be it. 2 seconds, 1 second, and Jim Hill is going to the championship game. They beat Gulfport 65-53, so it'll be Jim Hill and Tupelo for the 6A state championship on March the 3rd. And David, that should be a great game. There you see Jim Hill and Tupelo advancing, or shaking hands there at midcourt, and you see Jim Hill advancing to play Tupelo. So once again, final score 65-53, Jim Hill on top of Gulfport. I want to remind you, you caught all of this action on the MHSAA network. For my partner David Sanders, I'm Graham Doty, saying thanks for listening. Have a good night.